In a few moments, you will have an experience which will seem completely real. It will be the result of your subconscious fears transformed to your conscious awareness. Warning, this tape must not be played by government personnel. It can be extremely harmful and result in severe trauma. You have 5 seconds to terminate this tape. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's just a cough.
Yeah, right. And the earth is flat.
Treat your cough seriously with Robitussin CF Max. Nothing lasts longer and treats more symptoms for your cough, cold, and flu. Robitussin, because it's never just a cough.
Flat Earth expert Mark Sargent thinks the moon landing was a hoax.
Technically, the moon itself is a hoax.
Right, but betting with Sportsbet's new iPhone app?
I could do this standing on my head.
Thanks, Gravity. Sportsbet's new iPhone app. It's foolproof.
Do you think the Earth is flat, Snoop? What do you
It's a flat world after all.
Smoke weed every day.
Broadcasting to you from a mystical castle sitting atop a crystal mountain in the magical woods of Karenland. The Sarge is still away on vacation, and I, Karen B, am collecting end of the Gregorian false New Year demon heads to place on stakes at the beginning of my property because I am all out of bubble gum. Welcome to Strange World. I'm here with Brian and Zulu One.
Hello.
Sounds like
hey, I didn't bring any bubble gum.
Speaking of crystals, are you doing crystal meth now? What the hell?
No, I don't touch
that
that
was
nasty
great.
stuff.
That was good. I like getting all crystal.
I don't touch that nasty stuff.
I know.
I'm just goofy because you said crystal.
Mystical, crystal.
Yes,
magical.
I like that. It rhymes.
Practical.
It was nice. It was nice.
So, real quick, I'm going to say this before I forget.
Okay.
I think everyone's goal should make a New Year's resolution to get Mr. Sargent to cut that intro in half.
What the?
I'm just saying, it's a long.
The drumming, breathing one. The
yes.
one.
A little, yeah. Just trim it down a little bit.
Just trim it down a little bit. I like it, but it's a little long for me. I'm sure he probably enjoys air drumming or something. I don't know. Yeah. Hi.
He
How are you all
totally
doing
air
on this
drums
wonderful-
during the intro. I've been saying that for a long time that he only has that
know.
intro so he can air drum. And I said that to him, and he actually admitted to air drumming during the intro.
I have a video of him doing it. Ha ha ha.
Do you really? See,
Uh-huh.
I just picture him doing it. I didn't actually think that was actually on video. How can you share that with me?
I'll think about it. It'll be on the Love Boat video.
How many demon heads will you trade for video of Mark Sargent air drumming to the intro of Strange World?
I don't take demon heads. I don't get near demons. They're bad juju.
Well, but when they're on stakes, they make nice decorations.
Maybe. Oh, so how are we doing this fine New Year's Eve? Already talking about putting heads on pikes.
I'm doing good.
I'm
I
doing
know
great.
You're doing good. So
I just got done watching Patricia Steer's first stream on her new channel,
yes.
and I'm sure
Yes.
many others did too. I don't know if you did or not, but she went into great detail about her story of narcissistic abuse, which is actually a really important thing to talk about. I also have a story of narcissistic abuse. I have that on my channel as
Which
well.
you'll be on her show, won't you?
Yeah, I will be on her
to
show.
with her?
Eventually, she asked me. I said yes, of course. I'll be there. We'll talk about it because it's a big thing. It's a big deal. Like, I don't want to get too heavy into it now here, obviously, but it is something that has run rampant here on this plane. It's a big deal. And especially the narcissist/empath relationship. And I'm an empath. So that too is a very common thing. A lot of people experience that. So that'll be a good thing to subscribe to her channel if you want to talk about that, discuss it. It's very therapeutic. If you are an empath and you haven't experienced it yet, it's a good thing to subscribe to her and listen to her experience. I'll go there and talk about my experience, and then you can learn what to look out for yourself. Because this is one of those things where it's not something that you want to learn on your own. You want to learn from somebody else's experiences, most definitely. And know what to look for. Because it's a hard thing to go through. Anyway, we love her. She's back. She's strong. She's beautiful.
Awesome.
Groovy. Brian doesn't know what to do with that. Would you rather talk about transgendered crystals?
Yes. Get all crystal.
In 2020, there will be no transgendered crystals.
The crystal mystical.
see.
Oh, Brian, did you see the video?
Oh, I've heard that. Oh, wait, it's different. You asked me a question. I'm sorry. I've heard that before at night. Okay, what?
Have you seen the video of the mouse running around inside the burner on the SpaceX rocket?
What?
No.
In space, like it's supposedly out in space, and the ball Earth is behind it, and there's a little mouse just chilling on the burner, running around playing games.
Oh, send me the link. But I have been researching something else lately, the last several hours.
Okay.
But I do want that link. I want to see. This
I'm gonna
mouse
get it.
running
I'm gonna
around.
get it right now. Hold on.
So I've been researching the stuff about the airlock and all that.
Okay.
Because somebody brought up 2 points to me,
Mm-hmm.
and they might call in tonight, hopefully. But the 2 points were: one, why did the airlock open outwards into space?
That's a good question. And why are they made of floppy baloney?
Well, to clarify this, you probably, like on a submarine, if you know a submarine, all the airlocks open outwards because the pressure is on the outside, so it pushes them shut, right?
Right.
So in ISS. It's like, no, they gotta open inward. So I was checking the videos, looking. Yeah, see, it opens inwards, and then the outer one, I can't. It seems to open outwards. I don't know if there's this. They're not showing us a secondary stage or something. Whatever. I'm just like, yeah, it's floppy. Why? Doesn't make sense. I was like, well, okay. So then I looked up another video. So he came up with a cool experiment he thought of. Someone's already done an experiment like this. I like to see other people try it though. So this guy made a little vacuum chamber, a glass to suck the air out, and he put a can of soda in it.
Okay.
And sucked the air out. And guess what the can did?
Exploded.
Well, it didn't explode, but it opened up the weakest point, and all the stuff came out violently. I was like, that's a good point. So how does the ISS not do that? I know. That's what I've been looking at. Some of that stuff. I do want to see this mouse running around. I have not seen this mouse running
I sent
around.
you the link, and it is in fact a video linked from the actual SpaceX channel too.
Interesting.
Check
I just
it.
found here.
It's beautiful.
NASA says. Oh, sorry. I was going to say NASA says as of this today that they are planning on launching Americans from U.S. soil and sending a new rover to Mars for 2020.
Okay. Hold on. Get my live reaction of this video. Where's the mouse?
In roughly 30 seconds.
And I also plan to ride a unicorn across the United States, leaving daisies in its footsteps while I spread joy across
Where's the mouse?
country.
What's the timestamp? Where's the mouse?
Oh my God.
It's like at 20 minutes and 3 seconds or 20 minutes and 30 seconds. It should be time stamped. Look at the little ring. You'll see it moving inside the little ring right above the burner. You can see its ears and everything.
Right on it. Really? Stand by. We'll get live reaction. So while we're doing it, this is while I'm trying to find
No,
this.
the announcers aren't going to say anything about it. No, nobody's going to say anything.
No, shit. No, Zulu. Tell us how you felt real quick. Let's recap what you thought was great about the last, what'd you call it, Demon Year?
I'm sorry. A recap of what?
The last year. For you. How did you think what the hell is that?
I just saw a fucking mouse. What the hell is that? I just watched it. What the? Are you kidding me?
I mean,
that couldn't have been a mouse.
If that's in space, what is that?
What
the
is hell is that?
That'd be a rat. That'd make a New York rat go, oh shit, I'm out of here.
No, it's probably a rat. It's got big old ears. You're right.
Like
it's probably a rat, mouse, rat, whatever. There is a freaking rodent running around.
Hell.
Hold on, I'm gonna look at that one more time.
And keep watching it too, because here's the other thing too. If you keep watching it for a couple of minutes, you keep seeing things move around in there. Like there's a rat, and then like its baby comes and follows it.
What the hell was that?
Yeah.
What the?
For real. Wait, hold on. I have I'm streaming this on DLive, so let me put this in the DLive chat in case y'all haven't seen it.
Wow.
Yeah. Let me put it in.
I gotta look at that link again later because we're in the middle of a radio show right now. But I gotta say, what the hell was that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can see the ears and everything, and it's just chilling.
I'm not sure if it's a mouse or not. I don't know what it was, but things aren't supposed to go out there. I don't know. Anyways, so last year, let's see. What did we do last year? Let's get back on track here, people. We're on radio, not TV.
Yeah.
I know. But it's from SpaceX. Well, hold on. So I can tell people where to go if you're listening to this right now.
Posted it.
I know. If you want to go watch it, it's on SpaceX, on the SpaceX YouTube channel, CRS-19 Space Mission, posted December 5th, 2019. Go to the 20-minute 30 mark. 20-minute 33, no less.
Ooh.
And you will see some silly stuff.
I didn't even look at the 2033. I was looking at 2003.
Yeah.
Wow.
Why don't they just leave us alone?
What are they doing?
Okay, let's talk about what they did. So 2019, Karen, what did you do in 2019? You did a lot.
I did a lot. You know what? I can't even begin. Oh my gosh. I can't even begin to think about
Did you enjoy the year? Did you enjoy the year with your conferences? Because you went to a few.
The end of the year. The end of the year was better than I think maybe most of the beginning of the year. I'll say that much. The summer was okay. I did get to go to Myrtle Beach with my children. And then I did get to go to Amsterdam and speak at the Amsterdam conference and meet a bunch of people, a bunch of flat earthers from the UK. That was absolutely awesome. It was great. I got to go on the Globely tour van and meet Jason of the Disbury and Roxanne and Douglas Falk and a bunch of other UK FE. And I'm really sorry if I forget y'all because there was a bunch of people. It was great. It was a great time. And then right after that was Dallas, which was the third Flat Earth International Conference here in the United States, which was absolutely awesome too. And then there was, of course, Flattoberfest, which I put on myself here in Greenville, South Carolina, which was a huge success. And a lot of people came to and got to speak and meet each other. Yeah, man, the last like 3-4 months of 2019 was awesome, which is a great lead up to 2020, in my opinion.
Cool. What did you do, Zulu?
Well, I got to see Karen in Myrtle Beach and hang out. That was awesome. I had a good
That's
vacation.
Right.
That was,
and that's right. And just Truman saw us too.
Yep,
it was
the
like
whole
all
the families
in Myrtle Beach. Yeah.
Remember, it was the blonde family, the curly brunette family, and the family with glasses. Because it was so weird how like you could tell whose family was who. It was cool. It was kind of funny. Yeah, that was great. I was so happy to see you guys. It was awesome. Yeah, my year has been mixed. I mean, I got to see Karen twice this year because I got to go down to Flattoberfest. I got to see Mark, Brian Stavely, Scuba Dracula. I mean, just so many cool people. Flat Out Faith. I'm sorry if I don't get to mention everybody, but it was just awesome. And then, of course, I had other things in real world. Well, not real world, but I mean, other than YouTube world, family and stuff like that. That was kind of sad, but overall, I got to, have a decent year. And, I've been with you guys on the show a bunch of times, have a blast every freaking time. I mean, you couldn't beat the smile off my face. I love you guys. It's awesome. So much fun. I mean, it's been good like that, I mean, you guys, the people out there in the chat, everybody, too many people to mention. It's, I don't know. That's, I guess, pretty much what I did this year.
Well, didn't I start doing the show with Mark this year? I don't even know what day I started doing it.
Yes, you did.
But it was this year.
It was this year.
So that's another big thing that happened this year. And that was towards the beginning of the year, right? What was the first day that I did that?
I'm not sure what the first day.
I don't know. I just started doing it. I don't even know what day it was. Is that bad?
No. Larry Siebes out there in the chat, Aaron.
Good.
What?
Shut the fuck up.
I was just letting you know that I was just saying hello to Larry Siebens out in the chat.
Larry? Shut the fuck up, Larry.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
One last one for 2019. There you go.
We will be taking calls after the break. So we'll go ahead and put that number out there so people can start calling in. It will be 213-233-3998. So call in. It's the last chance of the year to call into the show.
It is.
I guess I should recap my year. Nothing happened. I had nothing on the show. Nothing happened for me. No, I did go to Dallas. I only got to meet some people.
You got to meet me.
I got to get in Karen's face and tell her Bigfoot doesn't exist. That was good. No, it was good. I enjoyed the conference. It was the first conference I had been to. Met a lot of people up there in room 424. Cammie, Bob, met Ace, Scuba Dracula, met him, David. Met a lot of people. Yeah. I also met
Scuba
Mr.
Dracula.
Sargent. First time, too. That was the first time I met Mark.
That's right.
Yeah.
In Dallas was the first time you met Mark, really?
It's the first time I met anybody, yeah. Really.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
I don't get out.
anybody, because you don't.
They don't let me out. They don't let me out.
Man, he's
I had to
antisocial.
bypass the guards.
You don't leave the
Get out of the
farm.
straitjacket. It's a long ways to get off the farm. But yeah. Yeah, I had a good time. Everybody in 424, lots of people. It was a good experience. Brought the wife. She got to meet people. I think she got to talk to people more than I did. But
He got people.
yeah.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, she did. And she won the card game, so she did a good job. But no, yeah, and I met Dottie and all kinds of people. It was a
Shout
wonderful
out
experience.
to Dottie.
Yeah. Helped Chris
Yeah.
with the stage and all. It was a good time. I recommend anybody who get a chance to go to the conferences or meetups to go, because it's great to just meet people, which is what it's about.
Yeah, you're right.
Good friendly environment. Enjoyed it highly. Highly recommend it. But yeah, it was a good year. I think Flat Earth's had a pretty good year with the documentary, because that came out officially, right? Love it or hate it. And then Mr. Sargent did his wonderful commercial. Hate it or hate it, but right, Zulu?
Yeah, on the side of a bus.
I love
That's
that
awesome.
commercial. I love that commercial.
I liked it.
Because I liked it. It doesn't matter, because it brought attention.
Yeah.
And that's what it. And, because my whole goal of the Flat Earth movement was just to get the questions answered. That's all I ever wanted, was to get the questions answered, which they haven't answered them yet. So I want to know how a mouse runs around that thing. It can't be a mouse. It can't be a mouse. It can't be a mouse. It's got to be something weird, but a mouse, really? Well, that means it's real, right? Because it looks so fake. So it must be real. Isn't that the quote?
Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
So after the break, we're going to take calls, but I've already got one call lined up that we're going to take, who's going to give us some insight on some stuff after the break. And then after that, we'll take lots of calls. Karen will insult people, right? It's your last chance of the year to be insulted by Karen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to be insulted by Karen B, call in and I will berate you.
That's awesome. And she does it for free, dudes.
I get
For
requests
free.
all the time.
Free.
It's really kind of odd.
It really is. It really is.
Oh, man. Can we get a blah, blah, blah?
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah.
I will
man.
say this. I was
So much
looking
fun.
forward to last year because I was expecting a certain video to come out that Karen was going to do for me. But she got too busy. Didn't
Oh
you?
my
It'll
God.
be out for
I'm always
it'll be out
busy.
for
I still want to
2020.
make that video too, though. I do want to make that video because I think it would be hilarious.
It would be. Why? Because I thought of it. And anything I think of is good, right? I am the master of the multiverse still.
Duh.
Just saying. it's going to be a busy night, I can tell. So real quick, Zulu, you're doing a night school coming up Saturday, right? We're doing night school
Yes.
to reflect the last year.
Yes, correct. Saturday night, we're going to do a recap of 2019. We're going to have everyone stopping by. So far, yourself, you'll be there. Karen's going to stop by. Mark, David, DITRH, is going to stop in. Paul on the plane will stop in. A lot of people, our friends, Carlos, Ron Hollerman. I can't wait for some of his Ronisms. He's awesome. So yeah, I was going to just share the chat and let everybody come in, and if they want to stay the whole time or just stop by for a few minutes, whatever, and just, talk a little bit about what happened to them last year and what they plan on for next year. I think it'll be fun.
Heck yeah, I know. I'm starting the new year off with a bang.
Yes, with a
with the bong. Is that
No.
a bang with an A or a
bang.
bong with an O?
Bang.
Or that. Either one of those sounds good.
A bang, a bong.
They both
Bang
sound
a
pretty
bong.
darn good. Bang a bong.
Yeah, you break it. Those things are expensive, I hear.
Yeah. Some states are totally illegal. Ridiculous.
So, I highly recommend anybody who's listening right now to go to that SpaceX footage and look at it. So when you call in, you can tell us, what do you think it is?
Yes. Go watch CRS-19 Space Mission on the SpaceX channel, streamed live December 5th, 2019. Go to the 20-minute mark and just start watching it, and look at this left screen. The right-hand screen with the burner over the fake ball Earth, and look inside that little ring that's above the burner, and tell us what you see.
You can't miss it. I'm sorry. You can't miss it.
Tell us what you see.
You'll definitely see it.
Yeah, I want people's opinions on that. Because I'm still saying, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
Looks like a squirrel.
Forget bubbles. Forget the bubbles in space and everything else. That was weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be a live shot, so yeah.
It's live.
Squirrels in space. Oh, it's live, and they lost Mickey. Well, I think Disney probably owns SpaceX by now. They own everything else, damn it.
Wow. Do you think they'd be that?
I don't know.
To do that on purpose to mess with us? To mess with people in general? I mean,
why would they?
I just think they're
how are they going to explain that?
They just got so cocky.
How would they explain that? Oh, that's the blob. That's the multiplexer demultiplexer.
Yes.
Going from a positive to a negative standpoint. That happens on every launch. No, it doesn't.
That was the shielding to the multiplexer that came loose, and the reflux caused it to shift to one side. And yeah, there's always some explanation. Oh my God. That is just too funny. I don't know what that was. I do not know what that was.
I don't know. We're going to break in 20 seconds, so everybody please go watch it, because I do want everyone to call in. I want everybody who calls in to give us their opinion on what the hell that was. And I want, because we haven't heard an excuse, I want to see people call in, see which excuse NASA's going to use, because I bet they pick one. All right, we'll be back in 3 minutes. Take some calls.
Hey. Happy
Hey.
Year.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
No hate, no hype, no fear. Real people, real radio.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Oh, there
Sorry.
you go.
That was what a noob.
Rookie mistake.
I know. You know what? You know what sucks is I watched my little voice thing go up on OBS and I see it going and I'm like, oh, I'm talking, and then you guys are all hello, hello, and I was like, oh shoot, I didn't unmute Skype. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So say what you were supposed to say, otherwise people will be yelling at you.
What? That was Stepping Out by some guy from some album.
That was Stepping Out by Joe Jackson from his album.
Night and Day. Yes.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah.
Let's take some calls because Karen's out of it.
That was fantastic.
All right, we're gonna
wait,
go to
real quick.
503.
Real quick.
What?
What is the name of the song that played on the outro from the last section? What is the name of that song? Do you know?
From the outro?
Yeah, the song that played at intro outro.
Wow, I've never heard of outro. That's a new one to me. I don't know.
I can't even remember what played. I just know that like some lame generic song and then commercials. It starts talking about, ayahuasca and Kate's does news or some shit.
All right. I'll figure it out. So I'll ask Mark.
All right. Yes. Let's take some calls, okay, guys? You've lost it. End of the year, they've lost it. All right, let's go to 503. I think this is call one. Shut up, Dylan. 503, you're on the air. You there?
Hello? Anybody there?
Hey.
Hello.
You're on. How are you doing?
Okay. All right, first of all, I have to agree with you. Can you hear me okay?
Yep,
Yeah.
I can hear you great.
Mm-hmm.
You're coming in clear. Crystal
I guess
clear.
there's a time delay, and I wasn't aware of it. Okay, I agree with you with the long intro with the bumper music. I even thought about that before I even came in contact with you. I was put in touch with Mark Sargent, and he evidently passed me on to Brian. And I talked to Brian a couple hours ago, and Brian, I really appreciate the fact that you looked that information up, so you knew a little bit what I was referring to. Because a lot of people aren't aware of the vacuum systems and what it does, and about the comparison with the submarine and how the doors open and so forth. You've already said that. In case somebody's tuning in, that makes a big difference. When you're in outer space, you have all of the internal pressure pushing against that door, and you have the vacuum on the outside. It will rip that door right off the wall of the vehicle. Even though it had hinges, it would create a leak. So that's why I was telling you that the spacecraft should have their doors opening inward, with the seals being compressed by the atmosphere inside the vehicle, with the differential in the vacuum, and that would ensure even a better seal. So that was one of the main things. Are you aware that the largest vacuum chamber in the world is in Sandusky, Ohio, and it's a NASA facility, and it is like 100 feet in diameter by about what do you think? About 122 feet high.
Isn't that the one that was in the video? I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but isn't that the vacuum chamber that was in the video with Brian Cox, where they drop like the feather and the ball? Is that the same place?
Yes, that's the same one. But the amount of vacuum that they can pull in that is not anything even compared to what they claim is outer space. They can only go down to, I think I've read the figures, 10 to the minus 4 or 5 or something like that. It's very low vacuum compared to what outer space would be what they claim is 10 to minus 12 or something like that.
It would be 10 to the negative 17 torr for the vacuum of space.
And how do they know that? They don't. And they're just pulling figures out of their head.
That's what they tell us, which is 76 quintillion times less pressure than atmospheric pressure at sea level.
Oh, absolutely.
You can always ask the mouse when he gets back.
That has to be correct, Karen. Oh, by the way, I heard your night before Christmas the other day. I pulled it up because I wasn't aware of your program. I'm aware of Truth Frequency Radio, but I wasn't aware of Strange World. So I pulled that up and happened to hear your presentation on the night before Christmas. I thought you did a great job. It was very funny.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, let's see, where was I going? Why don't you ask me a couple of questions? I had some things
You were
in
talking
mind
about the
vacuum.
pressure. Yeah, the pressure inside the Sandusky, Ohio vacuum chamber is nowhere near what they actually say space is.
Wait, let me think if I could find the facts here. I don't want to quote anything wrong. No, I don't see it here. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up with is back in the 60s, there was a Jim LeBlanc who was testing out the first spacesuit. So they were getting ready to go into space. They were planning their space trip, so they had to test it out. So they manufactured a walk-in chamber, vacuum chamber. It had 3 different sections to it, 3 doors. You go to the first door was one chamber, to the second, to the final one where Jim LeBlanc was inside. And the video on it, you could actually see it, but they've kind of clipped it down. And they've made comments on there that was absolutely not correct. First of all, they evacuated all the air. That's a total lie. When Jim LeBlanc passed out, he fell over backwards. And on the video, you can see it. They started evacuating the chamber. And he literally fell over backwards, his feet up in the air, and they pressurized the chamber in very little time, which would be impossible if they had all the air out of it. And you would, number one, if they repressurized it, you would see a fog inside the vacuum chamber. It would be like, when you change atmospheres real quick, you're going to have a fog. That never occurred. So they worked down very low. And Jim LeBlanc, when he passed out, he said, I felt bubbling on my tongue. And that was the beginning of the vacuum pulling out all the air out of his body. I talked to Brian earlier. That's where people think that their blood is boiling. Well, it depends on how you determine boiling. To me, it's not boiling hot-wise. It's just giving up all the air, all the gases that are in your system, like air, nitrogen, oxygen, helium, whatever's in the system is coming out. That's the bubbling. But it's not increasing in temperature. It appears to be boiling. So I just wanted to make that clear.
Well, yeah. Real quick, just to clarify for the people listening. So can you give us your background so they understand you're not just a YouTuber? You got a background in vacuum industrial, right?
Yes. I worked for space, couple of space organizations that actually manufactured space chambers up to 10, 12 feet in diameter where you could walk in, very big ones with the vacuum pumps, all the different pumping that's needed to evacuate it, including liquid nitrogen, ionization, all that, everything that's involved in creating vacuum. And it is like stainless steel chambers. They had to be extremely high, very, very clean. Otherwise, aluminum, the one that's in Sandusky, is made out of aluminum. One of the reasons they can't get down too low in vacuum is because aluminum outgasses, and it's porous. So it'll keep leaking air through the chamber and limiting the amount of vacuum that you can pull. But my background is I was a sales service engineer, installing and repairing, traveling around the country with different companies that had the vacuum chambers. They use them, just to give you an idea, they could be used for, like in your optics, where you have your eyeglass lens coated. They do that in a vacuum chamber, but it's a small bell jar, like 19 inches in diameter, and it's a glass dome that goes up maybe 2.5 feet, and they evacuate all the air out of there, and then they perform evaporation of materials that go up onto your lens and get deposited. So that's one thing that they use vacuum chambers for. The larger ones can be used for like cockpits, or not the cockpit, but the canopy that goes over a jet plane. They put them inside vacuum chambers, evacuate it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're good. Keep going.
Okay. They put them inside the vacuum chamber. Naturally, it has to go through a cleaning process. And then they evaporate under a high vacuum, which I'm talking about 10 to the minus 8, 10 to the minus 9 range. And that's considered a pretty good vacuum. And the evaporation of gold or titanium or things like that, but it's mainly gold, they evaporate and it adheres to the canopy inside. And that's to cut down radar reflection and things like that, and also to give better visibility, reduce the sun, it reflects the sun, things like that. Those are just a couple of minor things that are done in vacuum chambers.
Let me ask you this question, because you worked with the vacuum chamber, so I do actually have a question for you, because I assume things have happened. In one of these vacuum chambers, what would happen if, say, you had a small hole in it?
Oh, are you referring to that ISS where they had a hole and he put his finger in it?
Yeah, I want to know.
That is the most asinine. That's the most asinine thing I've ever heard. Number one, if he would have put his finger in that, he would have sucked his finger right through it, and he would literally drained all of his blood out of his body. Plus, the whole system would have been compromised, and they would have been exposed to the outside vacuum just from that small hole. Yeah, it would have took a little bit for the time to be depressurized, the vacuum to pull out all the air, but they would have been dead unless they had some way of sealing that hole. And you know where they got that picture of the hole?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But you remember did you read about where they got the picture of the hole?
Oh yeah, the picture of the hole, which is from supposedly, it's not even from the hole that was actually in the ISS at that time, right?
Yeah, the album
that's
cover.
Right.
It's from an album cover.
That's right.
It's
from the 80s.
That's right. I did hear that. 80s had everything.
I can't. That shows you how phony they are. So somebody caught that, and I just started laughing when I saw that. I just couldn't get over it. There's another thing I wanted to cover. I have, if you have time. I don't know how much time you have.
Yeah, go ahead.
We got plenty of time. Keep going.
What else you got?
Okay. Have you seen? There's a tanker, a railroad tanker, that they evacuated the air out of it and it collapsed.
Yes, Germans
did you see that?
I saw that video. Yeah,
I thought it was a MythBusters show.
There's
No,
actually two
Mythbusters did
different
the other
ones.
thing where they used like a household vacuum and they hooked it up through hoses to a car, and they had it hooked up to a crane, and they lifted a car up off the ground with just the vacuum pressure from a household vacuum.
Yes.
They had this car
No, the
hanging
video
up
he's
in the
talking
air.
about is
Go
a trend
gravity.
car.
You
You know,
see,
like
it's
you carry oil in, where it
Yeah, that's
violently crushed.
well, now this brings me to what I keep thinking about, because this is the argument I keep hearing from Globies. They're like, "Oh no, well you don't understand how pressure works. It's the, 1 atmospheric pressure inside the ISS, which isn't that much pressure, and a vacuum doesn't suck. It's the pressure that pushes out. So if you
You're
don't
right.
have that much pressure pushing out, well, then it's not going to do anything. It would just be a small hole, and you could plug it with your finger, and it would be okay." So what do you say to that, sir?
Well, 1 atmosphere is equal to 14.7 psi, pounds per square inch. As far as torr, just so you have an understanding of, 1 atmosphere is also equal to 760 torr, which is equal to 1 atmosphere, which is equal to 14.7 pounds per square inch, which is equal to 29.92 inches of mercury. Those are all the same amounts. Now, when you take a vacuum and you start going below atmospheric pressure, it starts coming down. Now, I have a chart. I'm trying to find it right now. It goes like Mount Everest. It tells the height of Mount Everest was 20. What did I do with that? 29,000 or 28,000 feet. As you go up, the temperature decreases the higher you go, and the pressure decreases. And I think at the top of Mount Everest, the pressure was about, I'm only going from memory, and I had it recorded.
It's okay.
Let me say, I'm only going to take a wild guess, but somewhere about 9 psi. It might be lower than that, and I think it was. But again, the higher you go, the lower the pressure. And your question was what, Karen? I'm sorry.
My question was, and this is what I hear from a lot of globe Earth proponents or people who believe the ISS is real. They say, okay, especially when there was that hole in the ISS, they say the ISS has, they keep about 1 atmospheric pressure inside the ISS, which isn't that much. And their argument is that a vacuum doesn't suck. It's that pressure pushes. So if you don't have that much pressure, then the differential doesn't matter, because it's the atmosphere that's pressing out. A vacuum doesn't suck. So even though space is 10 to the negative 17 torr pressure, and then you have, atmospheric pressure, that little hole isn't going to be that big of a deal. So they're saying that you can plug that hole with your finger or a piece of tape or whatever. That's what they say.
Okay. I'm sorry. I have to laugh about that because that is the most ridiculous statement I've ever heard. When you have that big of a difference in pressure, you're going to have a catastrophe. Did you happen to watch a YouTube where a man put his hand inside of a vacuum chamber and it was sealed? He sealed it around his wrist, and if he didn't get that out in time, his whole hand would have been torn apart and blood would have been flowing out. And he was panicking to get his hand back out. So you're talking about 14.7.
That was Action Lab, right?
14.7 pounds per square inch.
Wasn't the blood actually coming through his skin, through the pores?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
That's exactly what was happening. And that wasn't a big pressure difference. That was a minor pressure difference. It's just like what I was trying to tell you about this.
Let me chime in real quick here. So I'm going to give another example, because we're talking about pressure, and people say, oh, it's 14 psi, it's not much. I'm going to ask a question, and here's the funny thing. I'm going to ask Zulu, I'm going to ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
Which has more PSI? We'll say pounds, pressure per square inch, okay? More PSI. Your car, your Chrysler 300, that weighs, whatever, or my M1 tank. Which one has more pounds per square inch?
Touching the ground?
They're all the same.
Where?
No, they're not the same. Touching the ground. Which one is causing more pressure on the ground? The tank?
Actually, it's probably my car. Probably the car
It is your
concentrated
car.
on the 4 points versus the surface area of the tracks.
Look at the
Right?
big brain on
that's what you're getting at.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was
But I guarantee
working my
you,
brain earlier.
if you lay
I'm
under
thinking
my
about this
tank,
stuff.
I guarantee you it's going to hurt a lot more than that car.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, but what is your point though? What's your point on this? I don't see any correlation to what we're talking about.
Well, the point is when the globe earthers, globe people, and everything else are talking about, well, it's only one difference. One atmosphere to zero. It's not that big. That one number is bigger than people think. Just because it sounds like one, that's what they're saying. What Karen was telling you is it's only atmosphere of one. It's going to zero. So
they only take into account the atmospheric pressure pushing out. Okay, but they don't take into account the total pressure differential, which is what I was saying. The pressure differential between, 1 atmospheric pressure and the pressure in space is 76 quintillion. 76 quintillion.
That's why it's so violent when it
That's
crushes a tanker. It's ridiculous.
Okay, let me tell you the pressure difference between that tanker and atmosphere. Inside the tanker, outside the tanker is 14.7 pounds per square inch, right? Inside that tank, just as it was getting ready to collapse, 10.3 pounds per square inch. Now look at that. That's only like 4 pounds per square inch difference. And yet that tank crushed. When you're talking about all that pressure, square inches, every 14.7 pounds per square inch of that vehicle, that's a lot of pressure, even though you're only taking out a couple pounds.
It is because of the volume, the area that it's being compressed on of all that I'm saying. It's such a large area. And think of how big the ISS is. And if it's that much pressure in the ISS with how much, quote, vacuum of space. And by the way, just for the scientific people, vacuum and low pressure are the same damn thing. So stop yelling about, we're not talking about Hoover vacuums. But with all that area, that's a lot of pressure trying to push out on the ISS.
Yes.
Like
the other thing
you were
about
saying.
the ISS, if it was up there, number one, look at the thickness of the hull itself. Every time I've turned around, it always says it's like 1/8 of an inch thick or something similar to that. But even if it was 1/4 of an inch thick, you took that pressure difference, and NASA claims that inside they reduced the pressure from 14.7 pounds. They reduced it down to I can't remember if it's 9 pounds per square inch or something, to try to make it more compatible. And people could live in 9.4 pounds. But that's what they're claiming. And I don't believe it at all. But that aluminum, just like you saw that aluminum can actually being pulled apart, that's exactly what would happen to the ISS or any spacecraft if it was even able to get to outer space.
I agree. Hey, we got about 1 minute before the break, so give us your...
I don't know, am I giving you information that you're interested in?
Oh
yeah.
For sure.
Definitely.
Oh no! I hate this stuff.
Here's what's funny.
No, this
like
is awesome.
what I was thinking about, what he was talking about with like the atmospheric pressure, they're saying, it's about, at the top of a mountain is about 9 atmospheric pressure, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, think about when they go to the top of Mount Everest. How many people can go to the top of Mount Everest? Not very many. And when they go there, what do they need? They need oxygen. Supplements. Exactly. Exactly.
Now, I got another thing that's going to blow the.
Well, okay, hold on a second.
The theory.
I'm going to have you hold that thought. Hold on. I want you to hold that thought. We're going to carry you through the break. We're about to go to break, and then we're going to bring you back on after break. Is that okay with you?
Sure, be glad to.
Yeah, because I can't control the breaks. It's about to come up. So when we come back, we're going to talk to Bill some more here, who's an expert in vacuums, we'll say. So we'll be back in 3 minutes. We'll continue the discussion.
Don't say expert.
I like Bill.
Say expert. I'm going to mute us through the break.
Truth Frequency Radio is your number.
You are now tuned into the Truth Frequency.
We are TFR. TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
Major Kong. Major Kong. Primary target the ICBM complex at Laputa. Switch all receiver circuits to CRM discriminators. What's cooking on the fretboard? Nothing. I tell you what's gonna do, buddy. You're gonna give Elmo and Charlie a flash, man. Bump everything up to condition ready. Stand by the floor on your base. Major Kong. Major Kong. Hey, what about Major Kong?
Clear and plain and coming through fine.
What about
It's great to be fine.
What about Major
What's
Kong?
happened? You see the string in my leg, Scar.
What about Major Kong?
I never told you.
Hey, what about Major Kong?
Welcome back to Strange World, part 3 of 4. And we are talking to a subject matter expert in the field of vacuums. Whether he likes to admit it or not.
Well, boy, that was good. That's still a long introduction on the what do you call it, the lead-in music.
Yeah. Mark's got to have his air drumming time.
Okay,
So,
well,
you're
we
going to say something to blow our
left
minds.
off is, I want to double check something first before I say this. Does everybody on this program believe that we live in an enclosed system?
I believe that we
And you
do
can't
because it makes sense when you take into account the second law of thermodynamics. That is one of the things that bugged me the most when I was growing up. How do we exist with a pressurized atmosphere and an infinite vacuum? That bugged me a lot in high school, and I just had to forget about it.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up, but I wanted to establish if I believe we live in an enclosed system. And so does, let's see, who brought that up?
Bill
Nye brought it up not too long ago. He says, one thing I want to make very clear to you, we cannot leave this system, the Earth. We live in an enclosed system.
That's right.
And to me, all this is happening is they're little by little, they're exposing themselves because they have to. They have to tell the truth. In the scripture, Father Yahweh says, I do nothing unless I reveal it to my prophets. So I believe this is a law of Yahweh. It also applies to the enemy, that they also have to reveal their plans, which they have been doing little by little over the years. And they're getting more and more. Look at Michio Kaku coming out with saying that he now believes that everything that's taken place was done by a intelligent being. That was just a recent statement he came out with.
You know what else
And
Michio Kaku
there's-
said?
Yeah, go ahead.
He said that nobody in his profession uses the scientific method. It's all a guessing
Exactly.
game.
Very good. Man, Kara, you are really on top of this. I'm really proud of you guys. I didn't know that that all of you were aware of so many things.
We pay attention. That's our job. Our job is to pay attention.
Try to.
Wow. Anyway, what I'm about to say is I don't have any answer for what I'm going to say. I've just been studying this, and I believed in the law of thermodynamics, and I saw the videos where this instructor teaches about gas pressure in a vacuum, and then he opens up a little crack and they equalize, and about having the outer space vacuum and Earth and the air being sucked away. That bothered me, and I have been doing more and more research. So what I'm about to say, please, I am not trying to be divisive. In fact, if anything, I am looking for an answer. If we are in an enclosed system, which I believe, and we leave the surface of the Earth, as we discussed earlier, as we go up in altitude, it gets colder and the pressure drops. As you get up to about 60 miles to 100 miles, which they say the satellites are even higher than that, and they say the ISS is about 100 to 200, that vacuum up there is supposed to be 10 to the minus 6 torr, something like that. But that is still within the dome. This is what's blowing my mind. I have no explanation for it other than the fact that the law of thermodynamics may have been misinterpreted, or somebody is teaching it wrong.
Well,
Yeah, I've heard that
someone's teaching it
before.
wrong. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
What
I
about
kinda lean
as far
towards
as the
it.
law of thermodynamics? Have you heard anybody talk about how it's like about entropy? You know, that heat always goes to the cold, but cold never goes to the heat. Does that make sense?
Yes,
I might
I've
not be
heard
saying
that.
that right. Okay, but I think
To
that
me, it's
that's
just
not true.
equalizing.
It's right. It's just equilibrium, right? It's either it's not hot going to cold or cold going to hot. It's both of them reaching a level of
Well,
equilibrium.
let me clarify this. There's no such thing as cold. There's only varies of heat. I mean, the only way you have quote cold is absolute zero, which you're not going to get.
Well, it's relative.
I mean, well, you can say it. Well, but no, what we call
Like
cold,
Einstein
it's like
says?
boiling. It's like we were talking about boiling. Okay, boiling does not mean hot, like you were saying in the beginning. Boiling is the outgassing of a liquid. Water has to get a certain temperature and it boils. But there are liquids that at a much lower temperature boils. You know, here's a good example. In Colorado,
That's exactly right.
water
That's
boils at a lower temperature than it does at sea level. It doesn't mean heat. There's no such thing as cold. There's just varies of heat. And heat
So
will
there's
equalize
Right,
like
because
air
even
pressure.
though it's
general
boiling,
level
it
of
takes longer to
equilibrium.
cook an egg. Even though
So
it's...
there's
Oh, sorry.
equilibrium. There's the universal level of equilibrium. Is that what you're saying? So it's either hot going to cold or cold going to hot. It doesn't really matter which way it's going. It's just all going to a level of equilibrium and relativity to each other.
I was
Everything
taught
tries-
that you don't cool the air, and this is because I have an automotive degree. We were taught that you are not cooling the air, you are just removing the heat from it.
That is
Very
correct.
good, yes.
Yep.
That's the principle of air conditioning.
Well,
So,
yeah,
Billy,
that's why
anything
I had
else?
to know it. Right.
Anything
Okay, the
else
other
you
thing
want
is,
to
you
get
know,
off?
I'm sorry?
What else you got? Anything else you want to get off your chest, Bill? You got some knowledge.
Yes, in a vacuum, you know that if you had an alarm clock, you cannot hear it. Sound does not travel through a vacuum. You're aware of that, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Let me
that
ask
can
you
be
this,
proven
sir.
just by
Not according to those
Let me
NASA
ask you
videos.
this. Does anything travel through a vacuum? What does travel through a vacuum?
I can't answer that one. But I know what you're getting at, if I think you are, is about telecommunications and signals traveling through outer space. Is that what you're talking about?
I mean, just
like
anything that is quantifiable by modern science. Does anything quantifiable travel through a vacuum?
How about light?
Waves do, because light does.
Yeah, light does.
Which is a radio frequency. Which is nothing more than a radio frequency.
Well, light does.
Radio.
Light does, because you can have a vacuum, a clear vacuum chamber. Okay, but sound.
Sound does not, because
sound doesn't travel in a vacuum. You have to have something for the air to vibrate off of. And that brings up another video that they made from NASA, made when they were supposed to be on the moon. The man was pounding either the flag in or pounding something, and you could hear the hammering. And another one, they showed a guy throwing the hammer, throwing it, and it landed, and you could hear the noise of it landing. This is supposed to be in a perfect vacuum. So that's the other thing about vacuum. Now, the second law of thermodynamics, I would like to have some feedback on that one. How you could figure we can go from Earth up to 60 miles or so, and there's a vacuum, but we live in a dome. That I don't know, other than by studying Enoch, which I do a lot. There's portals in the firmament, and God opens them up occasionally to allow different temperatures and different like whirlwinds and things like that to come in. But I still don't believe there's a vacuum above the firmament, because he said there's water above the firmament. So I'm struggling for an answer on this one.
You know what? I'm going to refer you to something else. I don't know if have you seen any of Rob Skiba's videos?
Yes, I religiously watch his videos.
Okay. Rob's good on that portion. We are not that good on that portion, I have to confess. I'm working on it. Zulu's not.
Rob's
Karen's
great.
working on crystals. Rob is great, though. Rob is great. So check out Rob, or I'll check it out.
But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because that's one thing that's bothering me. And Karen, you said that was bothering you, and so just hold that in mind. And if you do get some kind of a reasonable answer, keep me in mind, because I want to know.
Yeah,
Karen finds out.
A lot of us want to know, man. That's been bothering me since high school, and that's about, I don't know, 30 years. Almost 30 years. It's had to have been bothering you longer than me.
I don't know if they told you, Karen, but I turned 80 in August. So
yeah. Okay, so it's definitely been bothering you longer than it's been bothering me. Man, if I find the answer, I will go to your house with a gift basket and I'll say, guess what?
Nice.
Well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it very much.
Oh.
I hope I was of some value to the program.
Excellent. And feel free to call back again. Blow Mark's my way when he's back next week, hopefully. Mark will be back next week. But yeah, no.
Okay, Brian, Karen, and Zulu. I don't know Zulu, but I know your voice now, and I'm glad I got a chance to talk with all of you.
Great.
Excellent.
Well, thanks for calling.
Yeah, it was
happy.
Definitely fun talking to you too.
Happy False Gregorian New Year.
Yes, happy False Gregorian New Year.
Happy Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah. This is the last day of Hanukkah. Shalom.
Good call. All right. You have a good one. Thanks for calling.
You also.
All righty. Happy Hanukkah. Bye.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
That guy was great. I'm not kidding. I
That
want to
was
buy him a
fun. That was
gift
very
basket
fun.
no matter what, because he was cool. That guy was awesome.
All right, New Year's Eve. We got a lot of calls. Let's see if we can get through them. Let's go to 843. 843, you're on the Karen B show. Can you blow her mind away?
I hope so. Karen, Zulu, Brian, how's everybody?
Good. How are you doing?
Hello.
I'm wonderful. I just flew back into South Kakalaki from Boston tonight.
Nice.
And I got a couple of things. Never mind taking a picture of the horizon from the window and putting it on my big screen TV and putting a level on it. It's flat. But other than that, I want to say that last caller was phenomenal. That was awesome.
He was.
He was great. He was great. That was awesome. I do have a couple of things. Where do I even start? I flew back in tonight. My daughter picked me and my wife up and from the airport, and we were going through the Coliseum, Charleston Coliseum, and what did I just glance at was coming to the Charleston Coliseum, he who shall not be known. Coming to the
NDT?
Charleston Coliseum.
NDT?
Cool. Yep. What's that?
NDT.
Well, I said
Say that again?
Neil deGrasse.
Yes, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Big sign saying Neil deGrasse Tyson's coming to the Charleston Coliseum. I am like,
You should
I would
go,
love
Karen.
to get a bunch of. I would love to get a bunch of us.
What day does he come?
to go to
Because
that.
he was in
I did-
Asheville, but it was on the day I couldn't go. If he comes to somewhere near me on a night where I can go,
I didn't
will go there,
and
I will blow
I didn't
him
see
up.
the date. I would love to. I didn't see the date. I didn't catch that because I was driving by, and I just caught it out of the corner of my eye, and I saw his look coming to Charleston, and I'm like, oh my God, I would love to get a bunch of us to go to that.
I think he
You need the
avoids
peanut
me.
gallery to look that up.
Neil
Yep,
deGrasse Tyson.
I'll look it up.
You
I'll
avoid me.
figure it out.
I think he avoids my area. He
No,
knows.
well, he's here, so I mean, he's
Wait.
not that far from you.
And where is he going?
Charleston Coliseum.
Charleston. Okay, Charleston is a 5-hour drive from me. And where is he going to be? When's he going to be there?
Well, I don't know. I didn't catch when he's going to be here.
Okay, it
I
has
just
to
saw
be on
the
a
corner of my
weekend.
eye. I saw.
If he shows up on a weekend when I don't have my little ones with me, I will
January
go to
22nd.
Mm-hmm.
January 22nd?
Well, I'll look more.
Oh, wait. I got something better for y'all. On January 21st, he'll be in Asheville.
January 21st will be in Nashville? Oh, let me check. Let me check my calendar. I'm going to get you, Neil.
Awesome.
Bastard.
All right. While she's doing that, what else you got, man? Because we got a lot of calls building up. We got.
All right. Let's see.
Oh my God, January
Sure, I forgot
21st is
everything.
a Tuesday. I can't go. He does this. The last time he was in Asheville. Dude, the last time he was in Asheville, it was a Tuesday. He knows my schedule.
Well, Karen, I got a question for you.
That's like the one day I can't
I'm
do
going
it.
to Greenville.
One question.
Well, I'm going to Greenville Thursday. What time does that start? Do you know? Tommy, with Tommy.
Greenville Thursday? Oh, it's going to start in the morning.
So if I leave South Carolina at like 7, I should get there. Everything should be okay and set up. Because I don't want to get
he's
there
gonna be
like
at the-
4
and-
hours before
and
anything
Thursday,
starts.
Well, you mean tomorrow or Thursday?
No, Thursday in Greenville.
Okay, Thursday is Greenville. Yeah.
Why don't you all leave email each other and work these out because we got to get these calls through.
Yeah, message me. Message me.
All right,
So,
I will.
Time's up. Thanks for calling.
I guess that's all I got.
I can't believe every time Neil deGrasse Tyson shows up in Asheville, it's a Tuesday. What happens on Tuesday, y'all? What happens on Tuesday?
That's crazy.
Good night. Say bye-bye, Karen.
Bye-bye, Karen.
Bye-bye,
It's
Karen.
Technical Tuesdays.
All right. Got 10 minutes left for the next break. Let's go to the next caller. 303. 303, you're on. The Karen B Show.
Happy New Year from Globebusters.
Yes.
Happy New Year.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Happy
Hello
New Year.
Hey.
Oh,
New Year.
is that Zach and Cammy and Bob?
It's Jaron and Cammy and Bob.
Oh,
So
Jared
close.
and Cammy and
Yeah.
Hello.
Bob. I
Zach down
recognize
there.
Cammy and Bob. I love you guys.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so happy.
Big
This
hugs,
is one of my
Cammy.
Happy New Year,
families on the
Cindy.
plane. Hello.
Hello. God, last show of the year. Can you believe it?
No, it goes by so fast.
No.
I know. It's incredible. It's been
I
a
got to
crazy
meet
day.
them.
I know. At the Dallas conference, I finally got to meet
Yes.
Brian. That was awesome.
It was.
And Brian's lovely wife.
Yes, and your
Yeah,
lovely wife,
my
and
lovely wife.
all the munchies and stuff you had. You must have spent a fortune on all that stuff in your hotel room.
Nope. I'll confess, I stole them all from Mark.
Most of it was sent to
Okay.
Mark. A lot of it was sent to Mark, and then he just had it in his room. Especially the cookies. A lot of the cookies were from Jan.
Wow.
You know Jan? Jan sent lots of cookies.
Yeah.
Lots of cookies. Who bought all the lemon drops though? I know Caroline was making them.
Oh, those were good.
Yes. Caroline makes good drinks. Shame I don't drink. But my wife enjoyed them.
Those
So
lemon
did
drops
I.
are awesome. They go down like, just so good.
Yes.
Yep, they're really good. Awesome. So yeah, what a day. Saw you guys, or at least I saw Karen in Patricia's chat. That was pretty amazing. I can't believe she's back.
I
So
know.
2020 is going to be an awesome year, I think.
Oh, it is.
I agree.
Definitely. Vegas.
Most definitely.
Vegas, Vegas, Vegas.
Yes, Vegas. I noticed today in the conference chat room, they were discussing logos for it, and there's some pretty cool ones that are popping up. Did you see any of those, Karen?
I did see some drawings. I'm going to work on my submission, and then I'll put it in there when I'm done.
Do you,
Oh, cool.
do you know
Yeah,
when
that'll
they'll
be
be?
awesome.
Do you know when they'll be announcing the date and location? I know it's still in the planning phase. I was just curious.
I honestly have no idea, and I have seen no mention of it so far. What I have seen is, I've seen that they've gotten some bids, from a professional organizer to do it, and that's about where it's at right now.
Cool.
Roughly the same time frame, probably a little bit earlier. It's not going to be mid-November like it has been. I think it's going to be a little bit earlier than that. That's about as much as I know as far as the date goes.
You know what I was
Okay.
thinking? What we
So
should
we
do,
gotta-
with all the crazy. I was thinking with all the crazy celestial alignments that are taking place in 2020, we should probably hire an astrologer or maybe get Wakey Wakey or Cherie Geo to tell us when the best day for the conference would be.
That's not a bad idea, Bob. I love astrology, especially geocentric astrologists like that, who really understand that everything is small and local and think these things do affect us. I'm all on board with that.
Karen,
Yeah.
then you got to
explain to me how the hell Venus is in retrograde for that short amount of time for so long periods, and not every year? You ain't explained that one yet. We talked about that last week.
Okay, yeah. Well, Mercury is not in retrograde every year. Well, okay. It's not even about being in retrograde. It's about Venus transiting. What we were discussing is Venus transiting the sun. That we didn't see Venus transit the sun very often.
When we should see it every 240 days.
Right.
Just saying.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you'd think you would, but they'll say, oh, it's so far away and the angles and blah, blah, blah. But yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. There's a blah, blah, blah.
There's always a blah, blah, blah.
That's crazy. So is 2020 is 2020 the year of the rat?
Yes. It is the year of the rat. Which,
oh my gosh,
oh,
Bob, that
gosh.
made me think about the video that we were just talking about, Year of the Rat.
Oh,
the rat video.
I know, yeah. Yeah, there's a couple rats. The rat that, Patricia was talking about tonight, and also the rat that was on the spaceship.
Oh my god.
First of all, on that first one, don't give rats that bad of a name. I mean, seriously. Rats aren't that bad as a person, Patricia.
I agree, Brian.
Okay.
I agree, man. You're right. You're right.
Real quick, we only got about a minute. I want to know, what is Globebusters plans for 2020? What you all got planned?
Well, we're going to be back on Sunday, and we're just going to be doing what we do, hitting NASA hard and debunking the debunkers. Pretty much the same old. And also continuing more on with the profession. Yeah, and we're also going to be continuing on with the Globebusters Pro Series, kind of like Mark Sargent, and I know you know all about that, Brian.
Yeah, I do.
Yes, he does.
I know a little bit about that.
Yep. So there you have it.
Awesome. Thank you, Bob. You do so much for us. You truly do. It's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Well, you're very welcome. And by the way, I also want to plug real quick. We have 2 Globebusters 24/7 channels now on Globebusters 2 and Globebusters 24/7. Check them out.
Do I get to do some plugging?
Awesome.
Sure.
Awesome.
If there's time.
Is there time? Can I plug a minute?
Oh, we got Cammy and Cammy. Hold through the break.
Iron your own media.
They're in.
I'll bring you through the break. I'll bring you back after the break. We'll be right back.
All right, sounds good.
Love you.
Perfect.
No hate, no hype, no fear.
You're listening to Truth Frequency Radio.
We are TFR.
Welcome back to Strange World, part 4 of 4, and it is the false Gregorian New Year. Happy New Year.
Blah, 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 blah. Let's give Globebusters
Blah,
back
blah,
in it.
blah.
Tammy!
I can't not say that.
Hey. I want to do a special Happy New Year to Diva. Happy New Year, Diva Dante. Thank you for always being there.
Happy New Year, Diva Dante. We love you.
Happy New Year.
We love you. So I just want to do a quick couple shout outs to, we now have Zach with us. Good Times for All from the couch.
Happy Fake New Year's all.
Happy Fake New Year's.
Zach.
Ooh. Miss you, man.
Missing you too, brother.
All done?
Y'all done
Okay, so
hugging?
give out your shout out to Iron.
So I want to give shout out to him and shout out to the magnetic work that we're doing in experiments. And Zach does have a new video up on his where we are doing a little GoFundMe for magnets. So a shout out for anybody that can help us because we're doing some good stuff here with the magnetic work, I hope. And I'd love to continue on and do more. Big shout out to Iron Realm Media. I have joined their team, and any of us, anybody that wants to join us, we'll be talking about the map and a lot of things in this upcoming year. So please feel free to join us on Friday afternoons. And Happy New Year, everybody, and thank you for having us on.
Yeah, Iron Realm Media, great bunch of guys. Josh, Walt, John Savage, and Adam Meekin.
They got a Mythbuster.
They got Mythbusters.
They're going to get you for that one, Karen.
I know. That's okay. There's too much to remember. I try to remember so many people, and I want to plug everybody, and it gets all mixed up sometimes. But Iron Realm Media.
And the other...
so great.
And the other normal one on Iron Realm is Miss Karen, who comes in a lot on Wednesdays, and hopefully she'll join us more on the show. It's always better when she's there.
Aw. I join when I can. I love you guys.
Awesome, guys. Well, anyway.
Love you too. Miss you so much. I'm hoping to move out soon, and happy New Year to everyone. Hopefully we'll all have a healthy,
Happy New Year.
fabulous year coming up.
That's right.
Yes,
Love
everyone.
y'all. All right, guys. See you later. Bye.
Okay, love you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Love yous.
That is just awesome.
I
All right.
can't keep up with everybody. I can't keep up.
You better start. It's like the Love Boat intro. You just got to watch the guest stars. All right, let's go to 808. 808. Ooh. You there?
Happy New Year, everybody. How are you? What's up, dude?
808 is Hawaii, is it not?
What's that?
Yes.
808 is Hawaii.
Yeah. Yes,
Is
it
this
is.
Joey?
Yes, it is, Karen.
Yay!
Yeah, I love you. The whole community loves you, Karen, but I love you too.
I love you, Joey. You're legit. You're the best.
Thank you very much. We are all the best. We're all. If it wasn't for us truth warriors, then they would have already pushed vaccines being mandated. All the plans that they're trying to do would have already been done. So we've at least held them off. Hopefully we win. I believe we'll win.
We will win.
Yeah.
We will.
Truth always wins.
When I think 2020 is our year.
Oh yeah, we got this.
I think this victory is going to happen in our lifetime, where we get to reap the benefits of all of our work, and it's not just for the next generations. Of course, that's the goal too. If it doesn't work now, no matter what, we're truthers for life. But I believe there's so many closet truthers, and there's so many that are already vocal. And with Patricia Steer coming back, and all these other people getting confidence to do their own programs, and all these channels popping up, and all these, look at every single live chat. There's always hundreds of viewers, and they're all, everyone's really adamant about pushing this truth forward and all these truths forward. I think we're going to win it, and it's such a beautiful thing. We're in this predicament. We were born into it, and some of us woke up, and the only ones that are going to save us is us. We just have to unite together and be a strong enough voice like we're getting, and then we're going to win, because these are all truths.
Hell yeah, the only ones who are going to save us is us. We are the warriors. We are the ones. I believe that 100%.
Zebras run together in the wild. That's their strength. You get one separate, boom, then the lion goes and attacks it or whatever, and that's nature, and that's all fine. But just as a metaphor, our power as a human species is in unity. All races, all religions, all cultures, all countries. That's our power when we act as one, when we're able to in a free society. And, that's what they don't want. That's why they liked it when we were separate, a few years ago when they had all the division. That was their own power over us. because united, we're when we're deciding everything, when we're the majority, then we're invincible. We don't even have to fight. It just is because there's more of us.
I agree
Exactly.
with you, man.
Exactly. And it's like what you were saying earlier. It's because we're pushing it back, because we're the ones who want to put ourselves out there, and we take the ridicule and we push back against, the majority who say, no, it has to go this way. No, we push back. We're the ones who have to push back. And if you don't agree with what's being told by the narrative, you have to join us in pushing back. You don't have
and by joining us, you
but you
videos,
should.
or you have to do your own. Yeah.
Right? You should. I'll sit here and I'll keep taking the bullets. I'll keep taking ridicule. I don't care. But if you don't agree with what the mainstream says, then you need to join us in pushing back. You're not alone.
Hashtag same team.
And it's time to take the power back.
Yeah, this is our time. This is our time. This is an epic time in history to be alive. And all of us that are promoting this now, we're all legends. Every single one of us are legends. And somehow we were awoken. Somehow, because it's not just about truth. If it was about truth, everybody would have been awoken already. There's something special about each and every one of us. That's why we have to unite. We're the heroes, the modern day heroes that are going to save the rest of humanity. Even like Fight the Flat Earth and Steinman, Red Earth, all these people who try to poke fun at us, they're only helping us. They're only helping us, and we're doing it actually. And as funny as it sounds, they're doing it to try and hurt us because they don't know any better. We're actually doing it to save even them, because we're trying to save all of humanity. We were all born into these lies.
That's right.
How crazy, right?
Absolutely.
You guys had a caller a little bit ago that was talking about the second law of thermodynamics and curious how it works. I work with Eric Dollard and Robert Bassano, John the physicist, Robert Shortman, and a couple other people that want to remain anonymous. And bottom line is this: Eric Dollard and Robert Bassano came up to this conclusion, not me, because I'm not smart enough. But they came up to this conclusion when we were all working together that the sun, we all know the sun's not a ball of fire, it's not 93 million miles away and stuff like that.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure most in the truth community think that the sun's some type of light. Well, Eric Dollard said the same thing, and he's a scientist. He's not a flat earther, so somehow this kind of validates it more, in my opinion. Because he's more neutral to it. He says the sun is a hollow disk, and those four spots aren't spots; they're holes. He says it's a light, just like how we say, and it's a cold light. He says it's what happens. How people are wondering how as you go higher, it's colder and hard to understand, right? He says that the sun is some type of nuclear cold fusion machine. And as it does its orbit around Earth, those holes those not spots, those holes are taking in hydrogen and converting it into helium, superfluid helium at 0 degrees Kelvin. And that's what's creating all this cold up in the atmosphere. It's what's creating our rain. And
wait a minute. What holes?
Planets afloat.
Sunspots.
You know how the sun has spots on them?
But the sun doesn't always have sunspots, visible sunspots, though. Especially this last year, because the year before in 2018, I know me and a bunch of other people were watching it, and we saw a ton of sunspots, a shit ton of sunspots. And then 2019, there wasn't. 2018 and 2019, there weren't very many sunspots. So a lot of the times the sun doesn't have sunspots. So what sunspots?
Eric, those aren't spots, those are holes. He's saying that those are holes in the sun and that the sun is a hollow disk. And basically the bottom line is this. What they're saying is that the sun is creating helium. They call it the heliocentric theory. The sun is creating helium. And as it orbits the Earth, it's actually creating our atmosphere through superfluid helium. Superfluid helium at 0 degrees Kelvin, which is like 2 degrees above absolute zero, it acts as a liquid solid. And it's about 80 to 90 miles high, which coincidentally is when these rockets are going up in the air and they're hitting this invisible something that makes it kind of just go doink. It doesn't crash. It doesn't smash. So it's not hitting a dome. He says that it's superfluid helium. So if you guys have never looked into superfluid helium before, because it sounds very scientific, look into it and you'll be amazed. It's responsible for how rain clouds actually pour fountains of rain on us, because superfluid helium at 0 degrees Kelvin is able to create spontaneous fountains of water indefinitely by pulling the water from the atmosphere. And that's what these rain clouds are doing. The same rain clouds that are responsible for creating lightning. And he also says helium being created by the sun, is keeping all these plants afloat as well. So it's super interesting. So people who want to geek out on thermodynamics and how it all works, Eric Dollard and Robert Bassano's channels, I will plug them heavily.
Well, it is interesting, and I love, and I'm a huge fan of Eric Dollard. I've used him in some of my videos, but when they say, "Oh, the spots on the sun, and the sun is a disk," those spots are not always visible on the sun. I mean, I'm not saying they have all the answers. You know, I don't know. I certainly don't know, but there are times when there are spots all over the sun, and there are times when they just are not there at all, and it just looks like one big light bulb. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, well, we don't know. We don't know how it works if Eric Dollard's right, and I have to say if, because no one's been there to test it. But if he's right,
it's a theory.
He doesn't know exactly how the sun works. What's that? It's a theory, exactly. It's a theory.
It's a theory.
And
I support researching any theory.
Absolutely, me too.
What's that?
We're just saying we support any theory, support looking into any theory, especially, you know, and I know that Eric Dollard spent, you know, pretty much a decade or more studying the sun. So his input is incredibly valid in this discussion. You know, I would never discount anything he had to say.
Especially because he's the only person that I know of, maybe like one or two other people that actually reduplicated some of Tesla's experiments. I mean, the guy is legit, not just with his knowledge, but in his practical application of his knowledge. So he's super legit.
Good thing to research, but we got to get some more callers, unfortunately. But we're going to definitely, I recommend everybody checking them out.
I love you guys. Karen B is so gorgeous.
Love you, Joey.
Later. Joey. Happy New Year.
Why are you trying to shut him down when he's complimenting me? Don't do that.
Can't have compliments on the show, damn it. All right, let's jump over to 863 real quick. Time is getting short. 863, you're on the air.
Hey, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, I was thinking about a couple callers ago how we're trying to figure out how there's a vacuum up in space if it's an enclosed system. And I got to thinking about density, you know, because we're trying to get away from gravity because it just doesn't make sense. So if you go to the bottom of the ocean, well, I am.
I'm not trying
to go to the bottom of the ocean, you've got really high pressure. The higher, you know, the higher you go up to the surface, the lower the pressure gets. You break the surface, then you're in atmospheric pressure. And the higher you go up, the lower that atmospheric pressure gets. And the atmosphere is a fluid. So the less dense fluids are settling down to the surface. Obviously, where it's more dense, it can't settle any further. So all that fluid is settling, pulling down from the top of the enclosure, which would create a vacuum at the top, similar to a gravity bong.
Okay.
So you're saying it's creating a pressure gradient?
Yeah, because as the fluid settles, it would be sucking from the top. So there would be a vacuum created at the top, would constantly be sucking down because the fluid is constantly pulling down because it's more dense. So it's constantly pulling down.
Right.
So say if it was a dome, so if you pierce the top of the dome, whatever is above the dome would be sucked in extremely fast because all the fluid from down here is pulling down. So if there's anything above it, it would suck it through. But since it's sealed, it would create that vacuum at the top of it.
Possibly. I gotcha. I'm tracking. It's an interesting theory. I gotcha.
Yeah, just something to think about.
Yeah. No, it is good. Makes things go,
So.
All right, cool.
All right, well, that's all I had.
I hope you have a good new year, man. False New Year, whatever you want to
New
call
Year.
it.
You too.
Year of the rat.
What?
The year of the
Another
rat.
day.
We're gonna get those rats.
That's right. Year of
Evidently,
the
they're already
rat.
got the rockets. All right, let's jump through quickly because we're running out of time. Let's go to 701. 701, you're on the air.
Bujuani Nese Indigenica Jaganashi Moog. Kevin Richard Shores Indigenica Jaganashi Moog. How you doing?
Next caller.
Happy. I was gonna say Happy New Year.
Oh, so none of you guys know the Anishinaabe language?
No, sir.
Of course not. What the
No.
fuck kind of question is that? We don't know that. What kind of language?
Anishinaabe, the original inhabitants of North America?
No, we don't know
No.
that.
Okay.
Because we're all
Wow,
descendants
you got
of
a
the
little-
assholes who invaded this country and took it over. No, we don't know that.
Oh.
Hey. They,
By
mine-
design,
mine
we don't
weren't
know
assholes,
that.
They were whole asses.
Well, I was just being traditional because I'm a practicing Anishinaabe, and that's how we introduce ourselves. So forgive me for following
cool.
my ancestors' protocol. But
No.
That's okay. You know what?
though.
It's
It's all
okay to
respect.
do
No.
that, but don't come in here and be like, "Oh, well, you don't know that." Like we're supposed to know that. Who knows that? Like automatically, we don't. Obviously, you know we don't know that. That's why you come in here and say it and say, "Oh, well, you don't know that." You could come in here and introduce yourself that way and say, "Well, that is this language, blah blah blah, of the natives," and that would be cool. But don't come in here in a condescending manner and say, "Well, oh, you don't know that." Well, no, we don't know that. Obviously, we don't know that because we were all raised on English. In this English society, this bullshit society that we've all been subjected to. That's just my opinion.
Well, I apologize, and I meant no disregard. But I would also say that if something brings you to an emotional state, then maybe you have too much invested in it. But I'm sorry. I mean no disrespect for the miraculous perfection of the individual entity that you are. So please pity and forgive me.
You're forgiven.
Wow.
So can we?
And I love you.
So, well, I love you too, and I appreciate that, and you. But what I would like to do is I would like to have the opportunity to have some discord with any of you or all of you, because in my 52 years of experiencing this physical form, I've been torn back and forth between just the labeling of the flat earth and the round earth and the globe earth and the sphere and all of that. And in my situation, being a blind, 100% service-connected veteran, crippled up in a wheelchair, I would like to have a healthy debate to see if you guys could convince me or have my beliefs be changed to what you believe. Because when I try to have some discord with people about... Okay, well, my first question is, what is your definition of flat earth? Because I get different when I ask people about it. I get different.
Not a spherical ball spinning through space.
Yeah, that's
right,
my definition.
But I can
of flat
agree
Earth.
with that. I can agree with that because there are elevations and mountains and valleys and oceans that
No.
it's
Okay.
not a
Hold
ball.
on a second. Only got a minute. I'm gonna fix this real quick. So
yeah, you take it, Brian.
the Earth is like a dinner plate with mashed potatoes on it. We got mountains and all that else, but it's like a dinner plate. It's not a ball that goes around or anything
Mashed
else.
potatoes
I know
and
the
gravy.
geoid and all that. That's right, mashed potatoes and gravy. So it's a dinner plate. What's underneath of it, we don't know. We just know it's not a spherical ball that has approximately the end result of 8 inches per mile squared that we can see too far. I got to cut you off.
Right.
A couple more callers I got to get to before the show ends, though. Please call back next week. Call back early next week. We'll get Mark to get you on. Okay? And Karen and Mark
All
will
right,
discuss it
that'd
with
be
you.
wonderful. And
Or
may
check out
we
next
all
week.
have a wonderful fake world of calendars and dates and counting beans.
Yes,
Toodles.
we do.
Yep, exactly.
You have a good night.
Fake
Have
Happy
a good
New
year, man. Hope to hear you next week.
Bye-bye.
All right. See, we got one more caller here. We got two more callers. See if we can get them in. We're gonna jump to.
I can smell that
gosh, Karen,
condescending
Oh,
attitude
yes,
from a
but
mile
it's
away.
okay. Gotta talk to him. All right, I'm gonna make you feel
Okay.
better, Karen. Ready? I'm gonna make you feel better.
Okay.
Next caller. Make Karen feel better. Put a smile on Karen's face.
I'm already smiling.
Well, you'll be smiling more when you realize it's me.
Of course I would be.
Well, happy fake New Year's to you, Zulu and Brian. Hi, guys.
You put a smile on my face too, Ted.
Oh, long
Ted's
distance
awesome.
smiling.
You know what's funny is earlier when we were talking about what we did this year, and I was talking about all the stuff I did this year, and then later I was thinking, I'm like, oh man, I'm such a turd because I didn't think about the first time that I met Ted was this year, the first and second time. And and it's
the
both
first time when
times were awesome.
you were in your car
This
and-
is the one person
Yeah.
who's really truly made me happy this whole year.
Well, screw you, Karen.
Did it with you.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Karen.
Well, but
Tell us how you really feel.
For a while, Zulu, though it doesn't count. For a while. I'm talking about.
I know what you meant. I know what you meant.
You know
my flags. What do you got for this year, Ted?
Oh man.
Not much. Damn, I was rushing home to get here in time to hopefully call in and say hi and Happy New Year, and wish I was over in Karen land right now, but I have to wait a few more days. And yeah. And wondering why Julie didn't put my face on the background. Ooh, ouch.
Yeah, that's right. Ted's going to be in Karen land in just a few days.
Ah, you know what? I totally forgot.
There's a lot of meanings of that,
now.
Karen land. Okay. Keep it clean. My kids listen to the show.
Well, next week, Julie.
All right. I got to cut you off, Ted. I got one more caller. I'm going to try to get in for the last minute. Happy New Year.
All right. Bye, guys. Happy New Year,
Thanks
guys.
for calling.
Right,
Happy
bye.
New Year.
Bye, Ted. Happy New Year.
He's my favorite.
All right. Let's go to our Quebecian friend, last caller of the year. What you got? You got one minute.
Hey, thanks. Hey, thanks so much. Happy New Year to you all.
Happy New Year.
I just got. Yes, glad to be with you. And I just got a slap in the face to Mike Adams. I like the guy with all his stuff about Second Amendment and health freedom and natural health and vaccine damages. But today he got an article out with the title "Laughing at Irrational Beliefs That People Still Cling On in the U.S. Going into 2020." And the fifth element was flat Earth. You need to read that. It's laughable.
No, yeah. I've already known for a while that Mike Adams is anti-flat Earth. Yeah. He'll talk about just about everything except flat Earth.
Yeah.
Well, but he's not. He's
Yeah, but
against
today he looked very bad with his comment. You need to look at it. He talks about Kepler's laws of motion and Einstein's equations and Kepler's laws, wow. And the flying disc in space. So the guy needs to be realigned properly going in 2020 because today's article was a joke.
Well, he's just one of these guys who's been doing a lot of work in the truth community as far as a lot of things go, and he's afraid to talk about flat Earth because he thinks the rest of his work will be discounted. But you know what, Mike Adams? You need to grow some balls. Grow some balls and stop.
Yes.
No, we are leaving. Music's coming up. Tune in next week. Karen will be back.
Ciao.
Hopefully, Mark.
Ciao.
Bye, everybody. Love you guys. Happy New Year.
Happy Julian Roman enforced, controlled, false timeline New Year. Love you.
Cold sex.